So in this video, I'm going to take you probably feel insecure about your looks, you go into conversation feeling just really unattractive and ugly, maybe even undervalued compared to most people. I'm going to turn you into someone who feels good, feels attractive, but most importantly, people are going to see you as attractive. People are actually going to want to be around you and talk to you. Now, I can say a lot about this because one of my biggest problems when I was growing up and when I was in middle school and high school was feeling unattractive. Throughout most of my life, I felt unattractive and ugly. And the reason why I always felt super unattractive and ugly when I was in school was because I was bullied a crap ton in middle school and high school for my looks. And this isn't me telling you to feel bad for me or anything, but I've experienced pretty much all. Being alone, being laughed at for sitting alone at lunch table, made fun of for my looks, my eyes, my humongous ears, the way my race is, right? And I've also experienced being made fun of for being left out, not having any friends, not being invited to anything. I've experienced a lot. But there's this one time I always remember where I brutally realized that your attractiveness determines how people treat you and your overall life in general. So it's 2017, and I'm swimming in a swimming pool in a family campground during the summer. And by this pool was this building where you could go to the restroom, you could get some water. They had like snacks there, just like at any community pool, basically a building where you can go in and get food and stuff. I was like 12 years old during this time, and I'm swimming and everything. And I remember I wanted to go get some ice cream. So I was with my family, and my brother gave me like a couple dollars to get some ice cream, right? I remember I'm going into the building, I'm going into the line, and I see kids my age, there are kids around my age that they were also ordering food at this place where I wanted to get my ice cream. And these kids, they were on my age, and I noticed that they were pretty slim. Like they were pretty, they had pretty athletic builds. They looked fine. And the only reason I really paid attention to this and why this mattered was because during this time I was super overweight. I was obese, I had the double chin, I had like a bowl cut, I had a belly, and because I was so insecure about this, I was like tucking my stomach. And I remember I would always tuck my stomach in because I was insecure about my belly fat. But I'm tucking my stomach in, I go behind the line, I'm like four people away from getting my food. And I also noticed the lady who's also working the cashier, she's giving out the food. And I noticed she was pretty friendly. And I remember she would smile, we were like 12-year-old kids, so she was just being friendly like any other adult would to a 12-year-old, right? So I'm sitting in line, just waiting my turn, waiting to get my mint chip ice cream. And then as I go, it's my turn to order and ask for the mint chip ice cream, right? The lady who's working there just looks at me with pure disgust. This lady literally looked at me like I had just murdered someone in front of her. And I was kind of scared. I was 12 years old, I was already a shy guy. And this lady literally tells me, "You're getting water over the floor from the pool. And why don't you have a shirt on? Go put on a shirt." And in that moment, I was super scared and super confused because one, the kids my age who also were ordering food, who were in front of me, which I waited behind them, they didn't have any shirts either. She didn't say anything about that to them. And two, I was not getting water on the floor. My hair was just wet, but it just looked like I had just gotten out of the pool when in reality I had been waiting in line for like 10 minutes. And because of this, I started to realize that she was judging me and being upset at me because I was overweight, I had a belly, I had a double chin, and I was non attractive compared to the other kids my age. I realized this and I'm like, attractive people, they don't experience this. They don't experience this hate whatsoever. And because of this, I started developing this huge obsession with attractiveness. This is when I really started to prioritize my looks, spend hours on YouTube and on the internet, how to become more attractive physically and socially, to experience that world of pretty privilege and positivity just like everybody else did. And it was these tips that I'm going to show you that completely changed my life, that helped me become attractive physically and socially to the point where I was able to get the confidence to talk to more people. I was able to get more compliments. I felt comfortable going into situations and being myself. And I'm not saying I'm the most attractive guy or some chat or anything, but I've definitely made a huge progress from what I went to what I looked like before to what I look like now. So without further ado, let's get on into the tips. So the first thing that you can do to become more socially attractive, this is a social attractive tip, is to smile less. Now you might be thinking, what are you talking about? Smiling means you're happy and friendly. And I'm not saying don't smile whatsoever. Smiling is definitely important when you're meeting someone for the first time, you're talking to a stranger in public, with the cashier or something. Definitely smile 100%. But let me tell you something. This was a huge mistake that I made and lots of other people make, which is smiling all the time in conversation, which is actually making you look more awkward and more nervous. I'm going to prove to you how smiling all the time in conversation is killing your attractiveness with this one example with something that's trending right now. So I'm going to show you right now is from a really trending show right now called Love Island. And one of the clips that I saw on TikTok really reminded me on how smiling all the time in conversation, especially when it's not funny and it's more of a serious moment, just kills your attractiveness and makes you look really unattractive. Check this clip out that I'm going to show you.
I can tell you like being dominant.
Huh?
You
No,
like
I
being
think I had to
dominant.
lead your ass to help you.
No. You like being dominant.
I do, but I had to help you.
So you was just trying to be dominant, and I'm not someone who likes to be dominated. It was like combative.
So find someone submissive.
You were trying to do too much. I was like, what is she doing? And then you got your head in the game.
Sure,
You got your head in the game for sure.
sure.
Now, from seeing that, that guy looked pretty awkward showing his teeth and trying to smile. And yes, you can argue that this guy looks creepy as a creepy smile, but I think we can all agree on how him smiling just the whole time during this serious conversation did not do him any justice whatsoever. And if you look back at the clip, the girl he's talking to in this video is not smiling whatsoever. If anything, she has a more neutral face, which makes her look more serious, more engaged in the conversation, and overall more attractive. She's not smiling in this conversation. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I learned this concept that when you are not in a moment in a conversation where if it's not funny, if it's more serious, it's curious, you're connecting with someone, it is better to keep a neutral face because this shows the person that you're serious, you're listening to them, compared to if you're just smiling all the time and you have a grin on your face the whole time. They're going to think, why is this guy grinning? Is he about to laugh what I'm going to say? Why is he just all jokey? Why is he like a jokester? He's just giggly all the time. You don't want to oversaturate your smile. You want to sprinkle a little bit here and there for the person. And in a way, you almost want to get the other person to earn your smile. When they see you smiling all the time, it's kind of just like, oh, he's just smiling all the time. It's oversaturated. But if that other person can try to get you to laugh, have a conversation where they can try to get you to laugh, they're going to feel like they're trying to earn it. They have to work for your smile. It's not easy to get your smile. So the most important thing to do is practicing knowing when to smile. So my best advice and what I do is that whenever it's not funny, whenever it's a serious moment, you're connecting with people, have a neutral face, be curious. Don't smile and giggly all the time. Like imagine right now, if I were to smile with every single information that I give you, this is example of me doing the wrong thing. I'm teaching you something important. It's almost as like I can't be taken seriously, right? It's like I'm about to laugh or call a joke and you're just completely like you don't even know what's going on. You don't know if you can take me serious. But compare that to when I'm fully when I have like a concentrated face, a neutral face, because this isn't funny right now. It looks like I'm serious. It looks like I'm actually talking to you and listening and actually putting thought and effort into what I say. So practice knowing when to smile. Only smile when it's a funny situation. You're greeting somebody, you're saying bye to somebody, and have a serious face and listen to people when they talk to you. My second tip for you to become more attractive is to wear accessories. Now, this is a tip that's going to make you stand out from the thousands of people who are going to be near you. So, this is super valuable. Back in 2018, I was obsessed with trying to become attractive, just like I just said. So, I was spending hundreds of hours on YouTube, trying to find how to stand out, how to become attractive. And something that I always saw within these YouTubers and people trying to help me was style and accessories. Now, style and accessories is basically clothes, watches, bracelets, and jewelry. But the problem with me is that in 2018, I was around 15, 16 years old. So I didn't have money. I was broke. So I couldn't spend an arm and a leg to get a bunch of nice clothes, get a bunch of jewelry. But something that I did do was get some decently like affordable like bracelets. So these bracelets, what I would do is that I would get some of these affordable bracelets. These were like maybe at like $10 most, $15 most. Here's another one that I really like. It has a cross on it, so that's really cool. Even these rubber ones work really good in the summer, especially, if you're at the gym or something. And the reason why these help you become more attractive is, especially as you're a guy, something that girls really pay attention to is forearms and hands. And when you're wearing like these bracelets that I just showed you, these highlight it. It's almost as like it's highlighting what you have. And in a way, wearing these things, you're going to stand out because not a lot of people wear jewelry. And if you're a girl as well, wearing jewelry helps you stand out. It's like your personal symbol, it's your personal style. So when I started wearing these in school, they're really good conversational starters. Like, for example, I was wearing a couple of these bracelets, and like, girls would like compliment me, girls want to talk to me, talk about the bracelets because they were also into jewelry. Guys who were into fashion, they were also talking about jewelry about me. And overall, if you can wear jewelry and wear it every single day, people will notice that you're wearing them, and people will want to have conversation starters with you. My third tip for becoming more attractive is making fun of yourself. Now you might be thinking, oh, why would I make fun of myself? I don't want to make myself look stupid. What are you talking about? And I'm not saying make a fool of yourself. Don't make yourself stupid. People are just going to laugh at you. But when you're in social situations, try to practice making fun of yourself and making convenience for the other person. So one of the personal examples of me was in university. I like doing this all the time to make fun of myself and show that I'm not perfect. And the reason why this works so much is because nobody wants a smart aleck. Nobody wants a person who's trying too hard and thinks that they're perfect all the time. And when you explain your mistakes, when you make fun of yourself, it's kind of funny in a way. It's almost as like saying, hey, like I'm confident enough to the point where I can make fun of myself. Don't mind me. So, an example of what I did with this is in university this year. So, in university this year, I got paired up with a random bunch of students this year. So I was in groups of like 4 or 5 in a bunch of classes. And I remember I was not good at the material for some of these classes. I was slow. The students that I was working with, they were a lot faster. They were able to comprehend the material much faster. And I remember like the very first time like I was working with these groups, this one time I was like, "Oh, hey guys, I'm kind of like a dumbass in like the subject. So if I'm like slow or anything, just tell me to hurry up or just yell at me, and I'll try to keep up with you guys." And when I told them that, they started laughing. They were like, "Oh no, you're good, bro. Like, we like this subject, so we'll help you out as much as you can." So try to do that. Try to practice with making fun of yourself. If there's a mistake that you made, call out, say, "Oh, hey, I make the mistake. I'm kind of like a jag off. Like, hope you're not too mad at me." One of the best things I like to do, one of the best examples, is if you're getting in someone's way. So the next time you're in someone's way, just be like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get in your way. Hey, if I get in your way again, don't be afraid to yell at me. Just tell me to move. Just tell me to move. Yell at me and I'll get out of your way." And the other person is gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's confident. He's not afraid to call himself out and make fun of himself a little bit." So that's super powerful. Practice with that as well. It's going to make you look more friendly and more confident. The fourth tip that I have for you, and this is a physical one, by the way, is leaning down. Now, I got this concept from a really cool professor of mine. His name was Dr. Ray Sylvester, and he was from England. He had this accent that everybody liked. I can't do the England accent whatsoever. That was so cringe. You know what? I'm just gonna leave that in there. He was basically a marketing professor. He was telling us the job market, how to get hired, and something cool that he really told me, something that really stood out to me that he told me was that people that try to get jobs. The main reason why they don't get jobs that they want has nothing to do with their work experience, who they are, what they've done, but it's actually obesity. It's obesity. Employees who were perceived and seen as like morbidly obese were less likely to get the job compared to people who weren't. And when he told me that, I was thinking about the times where I was overweight, the times where I was high body fat. I remember in 2021, I was going through my first year in university and I had kind of stopped working out. I was mostly focused on studies and I hadn't gone to the gym for like 3 months. And during those 3 months, I had gained like pretty good amount of body fat. And I remember during this time, and I remember when I started, I noticed that people would kind of avoid me. People didn't really talk to me as much. It was very neutral. I didn't get as much social interaction. But once school ended, and during the summertime, once I started playing sports again, I got back into my normal routine. I started leaning down, like my jawline got sharper, my my belly fat got my gut basically went away, and I noticed that people were like, "Hey, bro, you've been losing weight, haven't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been playing more sports, university ended." They were like, "Yeah, we can see that, man. Like, you look 10 times more athletic, you look more lean now." And during this whole time, I realized that people started talking to me more. People started, wanting to like know me more. We started talking about more things. And I'm just like, no way, being lean, having high body fat, chubby cheeks and everything, people see it. And it goes back to this whole obesity thing. So if you're someone who is a little bit overweight, obviously I recommend that you try to go, you know, bring that down a little bit, even if you are maybe just skinny fat. Try to bring your body fat down. Walking, running, cardio is going to be your best friend. And of course, I say this all the time, get into some sort of fitness. It's a high ROI and it's going to make you feel 10 times better by yourself. The fifth and final tip that I have for you to become more attractive, and this is a social one, this is my last social one, is to call people out. Now, I'm not saying to become a bully, but if there's something that someone does and maybe it's kind of funny, but you want to call them out for it, do it. And I'm going to give you a personal example on how I call people out and how you can too, and how it's improved my relationships. So, last year in university, I tried several clubs. So, I was going to clubs, I wanted to meet new people, and I was going to this passive income club. And I go in there the first time, I'm meeting a bunch of people, I'm talking to a bunch of people. I basically meet a guy, and he stands out to me because he's wearing a rival team jersey from the team that I support. So I basically support a soccer team in Spain, one of the biggest soccer teams in Spain, which is called FC Barcelona. And they are basically rivals with another team in Spain called Real Madrid. Now, these two soccer teams, they're like the biggest soccer teams in history. The rivalry is like one of the biggest rivalry in sport. So I see this guy and he's wearing the rival team. I don't like this team whatsoever. But, I go up to meet to him and, I talk to him for a little bit. And as I'm about to like say goodbye to him and, go talk to other people, I say this to him. Yo, bro, it was so nice to meet you, man. Honestly, I probably would have been best friends with you if you weren't wearing that ugly jersey. And he hears this, he's like, "Oh, you're a Barca fan." And I'm just like, "Yeah, bro, like I hate Real Madrid. Oh my gosh, what are you wearing, bro? I hate that so much." And he started laughing and we started talking about soccer. We actually become close. And every time that I see this guy, I remember the situation because every time I lightly call him out and make fun of him for supporting my rival team, it's funny. And the reason why this works so well is because when you slightly call people out for mistakes or just funny little things, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's like teasing me in a way. Like he's confident to the point where he doesn't care if he's mean. He can say what's on his mind. He's not afraid to call me out. This guy is confident." So here are some ways that you can apply this. Let's say someone's gonna spend all their money on a bunch of like, BS things, like a bunch of like snacks or something. I don't know. Be like, "Bro, come on, you're gonna spend all your money on that food? Come on, brother." Or let's say someone didn't go to the gym. Someone hates leg day. Be like, "Bro, how are you gonna skip legs? Like, bro, you're gonna get this huge upper body, but you're gonna have chicken legs? Come on, bro." And be super light with it, have a good tone. You don't want to sound like a jackass or anything, okay? So it's super important to lightly call people out, just lightly do it just all the time. And it's like teasing, it's funny in a way. You're gonna become closer with these people. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.